playing.
Great. Thank you, Cheka. Thank you. Thank you, Legrand, as well.
All right, thank you.
See you
Right,
later.
so immediately we're going to go into the wolf fight because we have to save both our poor little Ricky's children, Nene and wow, that was a fast fight.
Yeah, it's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So welcome to Future Connected. I have my fellow Future Connected players, Regu, Classic Regu, and Aeon Frodo here with me. I'm still MD, of course, and we all we're really part of this close-knit Future Connected community that we've got.
Yeah, so first of all, we just got past the wolf fight, and I believe, so normally in any percent you go straight to the Companion's Cape, but here we're going to collect some landmarks in order to, because we need to actually travel back there later for Tay-Tay.
Yeah, so I know it was noted at the very start of the stream as well, but this is being played in casual mode for all the benefits that casual mode brings, like, you know, not having accuracy negatives when you're fighting an enemy 20 levels higher than yourself and all that sort of
Yes.
stuff. Helps remove the grind and all that sort of stuff, which is pretty nice for a speedrun.
Yeah, low penalties are brutal, so especially in Xenoblade 1, so we have to, and Xenoblade 1 games like Future Connected, so we have to, like, for the sake of speeding up things, we play in casual mode.
Yeah. So there's something I want to point out really quick that Samu is working on Malos 1 here. Chiefs and Sonic Shadow Silver 2 are two runners, of course, and Chiefs is actually, I believe, going to be doing the first portion of the game with Melia. Sonic will be doing this with Shulk, I believe. So they already have a little bit of a different routing section going through this, which is really nice to see.
Also, something really cool to note there is it is actually slightly faster to grab that landmark from the side than grabbing it from the front and just teleporting to it. So that's what you saw Chiefs doing there, and he's now just moving on. He just skipped a bunch of cutscenes and is moving on to our first Pawn Spectre here shortly.
Yeah, this is a bit further away, but you are collecting Moral Cob collectibles. So, yeah,
Also,
it's
just to
just
point out-
basically, so before
No.
our next Pawn Spectre, we had to collect these things called Moral Cobs. And you have like basically a 1 in 50 chance in order to get enough to save time. And yeah, I'm not kidding, it's 1 in 50 chance. And yeah, it's just very unlikely to even like get that, but it does save time.
Yeah, so we've got a little bit of a button mashing section here. Samu is working on Malos 3, second to last fight, of course. So what we're going to be coming up on one of the most infamous parts of FC pretty soon. Evelyn and her army of Sardis.
Oh jeez.
There's
Yeah,
so much
so
history.
on top of that Morikob RNG, there's also Evelyn. So yeah, it's absolutely brutal this beginning of the run.
Yeah, it's actually it's a major reset point because of how inconsistent these ridiculous fish are. We hate them.
Yep.
Yeah, it was routed at any percent by Sonic Shadow Silver 2, who will be racing side by side against Chiefs soon.
Yeah, just to kind of say how infamous this is as
An
well. There was a
80%, yeah.
short time where in the routing, Evelyn was actually pushed back further so that you'd be a higher level for the Sardi fights to make it ever so slightly easier. Of course, now Evelyn is back at the front of the route again because it is faster to do Evelyn at this point in the run.
Yeah. So one of the
he got the early Sky Mole. That's
awesome. Well, that's
that
huge.
is extremely early. That's like
really
a place
lucky.
you can get early. Yeah.
So we'll talk about why that's good later. But so right now, you see the Sardis are kind of their detection points and just general tracking is horrendous. So it's really difficult to get them to go where you want them to.
That was also very close to death. So yeah. Unfortunately, the biggest con about playing as Melia here is that she's very squishy, even more squishy than Shulk. So she can just get easily bodied here, just by the double Sardis here.
Yeah.
So I think overall this fight's going to be solid and what you would like to see, optimally.
Yeah, thankfully there was no deaths, of course. And you see that Sardi's a problem. He's just in the back there. This is one of the reasons why we absolutely despise these fish, even enough to the point where we spell their name
Oh
differently than.
no, he had the
Oh,
travel
that's
following him.
that. Did
So
it just
yeah,
de-aggro? It just
yeah, it
wait.
did,
Wow.
because he was too deep in the water. So what happens? So there's a Crabble nearby too. So that's another element of RNG on top of all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Also,
goodness,
one
that's
kind of like fun thing to note here is that the Nopon are actually shorter than the other characters and will start swimming earlier.
yes,
That's
that's another
true.
thing to note. That's a Xenoblade 1 thing, right?
Yeah,
Is this
they
like
actually
it is.
changed that in 3 because you're able to fight in the water in Xenoblade 3.
Yeah.
Uh, looks like Samu is, I think that is either the second to last or the last Artifice chain attack battle there. So they are closing in. Or yeah, that was the last Artifice point, so they're closing in on the end, the Malus 3.
Yeah, so when we're collecting these moral cobs, if you do like the fight optimally, you're at risk of getting spotted by the Myrmidoras that are flying around. And when you get spotted, you can't collect collectibles. So that's another set of RNG on top of everything else. It's absolutely ridiculous the first like 7 minutes of this run.
Yeah.
Also, it should be
But
kind of noted, this is probably one of the only points in the run where we're kind of doing things in the order you might do it in a casual playthrough.
yes.
So after this, it kind of completely goes off
Oh,
the
yeah.
rails.
The routing
Yeah.
in this route is honestly like it's actually really cool. I love how it works. Like there will be multiple points in which we meet one of the pawn specters and we don't follow through with their quest and we go back to them after, because it's just faster to do other things along the way and then return later.
Yeah, so at this point in the game, they're kind of expecting you to make your way towards Alkanoth, make your way towards Pillar Knoll. Instead, we're going to Zen's Thoroughfare to drop down. This is also done in the casual route as well, but it also works in the Pawn Spectre route, so that's what we're kind of seeing here as
Yeah.
Chiefs makes his way up there.
It looks like Samu's having a little bit of trouble with the Malus fight here. Hopefully, they're able to recover. A little bit low HP. I think they can do it. I believe in them. Monado Cyclone. Oh no. Okay, it's salvageable, but the Monado Cyclone was really unfortunate timing there. They don't have enough meter to revive Laura. Oh, this is so. Oh no, this is close. Essentially, what happens here is if they fail this, they have to redo Malus 2 as well. Back at the beginning of the point in the return.
Yeah, the end of Torna is extremely brutal.
Mm-hmm. So there's Zen's, and before they do the little skip that Ragu was just speaking about, we're going to be talking to 404, I believe. We're not going to complete their quest here. This will be actually like one of the later pawn specters that we complete.
Yeah, you start the quest, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no! I just saw.
Oh
what
no!
happened.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh!
that's
Yeah.
too bad.
We got to wipe on Malus 3.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's going to put Keves in the lead by quite a bit.
Still
Mhm.
plenty of games to make up some time.
Oh,
though, so-
absolutely.
Yep.
That's the best part about this. 24 hours worth, everything can go wrong, everything can go right, and it's totally
Yeah,
possible
so
to come back.
I believe Chase may have his own method of getting down, or is he doing? Yeah,
think
he's
so.
doing.
Yeah, so what? Yeah, he
his
does that.
method, yeah,
Exactly. So
So
what they
this
do is
is-
they drop down and push against that edge.
yeah, and you switch party members there, and it's
Yeah.
actually pretty efficient because what happens is that you skip the fall animation, and yeah, that just helps with that.
Yeah. So a little
So there
noise
is like
optimization.
there is like some cons to having to playing as Melia during the first part, and we'll basically get to that on the next Pawn Spectre we actually complete the quest for.
Yeah. When Sonic is here a little bit after Samu's finished, you'll be able to see the difference between how Melia handles the first portion of the game and how Shulk handles it. It's
Yeah.
usually personal preference. I know Chiefs is pretty familiar with the normal route as well for any percent, so Melia is used in that also.
Yeah.
Also, once again, just grabbing some landmarks here. This is an area that you're not supposed to be in until much later in future
Yeah, it's
connected.
supposed to be like close to the end of the game. Yeah. But
Yeah,
we're
but we're
just
gonna
like
grab them.
grabbing the Pawn Spectre of the God complex and going through the Forbidden Husband, or yeah. Which is what a viewer came up with when like they thought like it was called that, but it was not called that. It was called Forbidden Hushlands,
Yeah.
and we kind
Oh.
of just stuck with the name. Forbidden
Yeah,
Husbands.
exactly. We grabbed old Exhibition HQ there, and we're going to be making our way to the quarry, This is just a point that we're gonna grab. We'll be back here later too for some story stuff. But the way we do this is we just grab this now because it just makes sense to. It's faster to do this. We're actually going to be going through the quarry as well. We're going to be getting a fast travel point and then leaving, I believe.
Yes.
Yep. And you're going to be seeing some interesting use of death
Mhm.
hopefully here in a second.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is something that Grant discovered for the 80% run, but it works in all pawn specters as well.
Yeah. We got Samu just finishing up Malos 1 again, or Malos 2 again, excuse me, and then working on Malos 3. So here is something that happens a lot in the run, but what Chiefs just did is he got the checkpoint and then he immediately fast traveled to that same point. This is saves a few seconds of travel time and is done at multiple points.
There are even some that save less than a second. And
Yeah, but it's
actually, if you
still
mess up the
ultimate.
menuing, you can end up being slower, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what happened with what Chief's doing is he's getting aggro from the egg in order to not regain HP before encountering a unique monster that's chasing him right now. Then he's aggroing all these other monsters. Hopefully some of them hit him. Good.
Yeah.
And when you jump, you
Nice.
don't get stuck in one spot.
That was really
You
good.
probably should have gotten hit by that enemy there, but yeah.
I think
so
this should
Overall,
probably
pretty
kill him on
clean, though.
contact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although he did activate Battle Soul on shot.
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah. So essentially, you want to hit a balance of that like portion there of not dying too early, but also dying like right when you get this travel point. Because as you can see, we're gonna be leaving that place and going back there later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ideally, you would get the checkpoint and then get hit by a monster and die immediately, basically. So still close, though. It was only a couple hits.
Yep.
Yeah. Although it might like mitigate some of the cons of playing as Melia earlier, because you need Buster for the next Pawn Spectre.
Right.
Yeah, so now we're kind of back on the path where the game kind of wants you to go. Going through the plaza, going to go get Deca Deca, which is going to be the next Pawn Spectre here, and just continuing on with the story of Future Connected.
Samu is still making their way through Malos 3. It seems to be going okay for now. We've got a little bit low on health, but they've got chain meter if they die. Yeah, so we're just walking around a little bit on the FC side of things.
It should be noted that in some older routes of this, we actually kind of used to delay this part to get a different Pawn Spectre named Set. Set has since been pushed much, much later in the route. It was actually very RNG heavy as well. It was a pretty
This is
difficult
something I
fight to
figured
do at
out.
this
Yeah,
level.
so you go around that, and then you grab the landmark, and you just go immediately back.
Yeah, to these spiders here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to
And
note.
that's to save Deca Deca, who needs our help.
Yeah, and Deca Deca is our third Pawn Spectre that we'll be completing.
Yeah, so it's kind of deceptive too, because you think casually with Deca Deca, oh, he's gonna be my red flag Pawn Spectre. That means I can use, those attacks. But no, he's a blue flag one.
Yep. So I guess we should kind of touch on Union Strikes. In Xenoblade DE base game, chain attacks are obviously a thing and they exist. But in this game, we have a kind of similar. It still works the same in terms of a chain attack, but it's not quite a chain attack. It's called Union Strike, where we go with our Pawn Specters and we do some quick time events in order to execute a large portion of damage.
It should be noted too, Union Strikes, there's 3 different types. There's going to be the blue sort of healing Union Strike, the yellow stunning one, and the red damaging one. Each one is, I believe, scaled off of the number of Pawn Specters you have, right? In that specific type?
Exactly. Yep. And that's one of the reasons why we're going to be decimating Galgar later. In comparison to some of the other categories for this game, Galgar can actually be a much larger problem, and he still can pose a problem here. But there is a staggering difference between the damage you get for him then versus in other categories.
Sorry. I was watching the wrong thing, but I saw the Morocop getting grabbed by Chiefs just then, and I was just like, oh, that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, they got that Sky Mole earlier, which is super good. Didn't have to
Yeah,
worry
that's
about
going to
that
be
at all.
extremely helpful.
Yeah, in my PB, I didn't grab it that early, but I did grab it where the Morocop was.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
that's like the earliest way you can collect it without actually losing time going up that.
Sky
So-
Mole is yeah, it's used for a quest later. I also want to point out Samu is now in the chain attack portion of Mallows 3, so hopefully I think things will work out fine this time. We'll pray for that. And then coming up now, Chiefs is just walking over to Alchemoth. We'll be back at this bridge later a little bit too for another fight.
Yeah, I know we were kind of talking about, certain fights being much easier with Pawn Specters, kind of in general with this specific category. Stuff like Fog King, for instance, the final boss, all that sort of stuff tends to be significantly easier because you're dealing just more damage, your level is higher, all that sort of stuff. It's actually
still
it's
try the
pretty
Fog King.
interesting category. Oh, it's still very difficult. Yeah, there's still a
Yeah.
lot of optimization that goes into it that we'll go into once we actually get to that fight, but it's a pretty interesting category in that regard.
I believe Samu got the full burst with Mithra. Perfect. This is definitely going to kill. Or it should be extremely close. Yeah, so exactly, there we go. Perfect. Mallows 3 is done. We don't have to worry about that. Samu is essentially home free to complete the run in being unable to die to Gort. So woohoo. That's great. And now we're in Alchemoth.
Yeah, so by the way, when you talk to Pawn Specters, you have a chance to get like some extra dialogue that you don't want to see because there's no such thing as affinity in this. There's affinity burst, but there's no affinity between characters. So what happens is that you get these extra dialogues boxes randomly, and they can wait up to like half a second to a second, depending on how many you get. And this can happen for like multiple Pawn Specters. And I think Dry might be the first one.
Yeah, I think can it also happen for 2-2, or am I mistaken? I think it's something like
Believe
that.
that's
2-2, yeah.
true.
2-2
Yep.
later on, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
right
I'm
now,
just saying there's multiple that can
exactly.
happen.
Yeah. Right now, Chiefs is going through getting some high NCF feathers, and he's going to take them back to Dry there and complete the quest and get that Pawn Spectre.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
little
important
cool-
to note here too. I think Dry is our first red Pawn Spectre and unlocks
Yes.
some Union Strikes for us.
I believe so.
Yes.
Yeah. Another instance of that traveling there is Chiefs already got the travel point on the way to one of the earlier high NCF feathers, and he traveled there to be able to quickly get to the fifth one and then travel back to the front to talk to Dry.
Yeah, tons of optimization has been put into this route, specifically around teleporting, when to do it.
Yeah, this route's awesome in terms of just being able to work on so many things at the same time, similar to Torna, but obviously in this game. Samu just got the triple ice combo and should be finishing Gort very, very soon.
And then Team Agnes can start their comeback.
Yep. We've got the first Fog Beast here as well, the first Fog Beast battle.
Yeah, so this mysterious fog phenomenon has been affecting the bar on the shoulder. And yeah, we gotta deal with all that.
And that's it for Torna on Team Agnes. So GG's to Samu, of course. That's awesome. And then Sonic will be loading up shortly, I'm sure. So a little bit about Aeon explained the kind of the backstory in Fog Beast. This fight is it was just so that was this fight's pretty trivial. It can go wrong, but it's usually safe on casual. Like you're never at risk of dying, but there's obviously some points in which you can go kind of slower and faster.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on
like...
positionals maybe?
I was just saying you can go like really slow on this Taos fight. Like you can just get really unlucky and just lose like 10 seconds.
Yeah,
and that's out of your control.
Exactly.
Anyway.
The positionals are kind of part of that. They kind of
yeah, well they kind of are, yeah. So positionals basically you can with Shulk most of the damage and the gauge being built up is through positional attacks such as backslash being from behind. So obviously you gain more from attack and the gauge up the top left corner, you gain a little bit more for that. And also if you gain critical hits as well. So yeah, positionals just help with that a lot. And that's why Shulk is generally our main character for future connected casual runs, because we really need to build up that gauge very quickly in order to get our union gauge filled up, and then that will be our gauge filled up, and then we can do union attacks.
Yeah, so you haven't really seen how powerful Union strikes are yet, but once we get all the Pawn Specters, getting that gauge extremely
Yeah.
fast is going to
I-
be incredibly important.
Yeah, I believe you can see the first victim on the splits. So, of that. So, yeah.
Yep, Gaelgar
Very
is going
fun.
to be very fun in this specific run. Yeah, so Sonic has started and is using Shulk instead of Melia, as we kind of mentioned earlier.
Yes. Yeah, so there are some benefits playing as Shulk over Melia. One thing is, Shulk's AI tends to be really bad when it comes to using, what do you call it, Monado arts. So, and because we want Buster for Deca Deca, he tends to like using his Monado arts a lot, and especially when you're not controlling him. So it's just really annoying when, yeah, he's completely out of your control, which is why you want to be controlling him, especially during the moments where, yeah, especially during the fish fight, because yeah, it's just another additional RNG added on top of everything else. Did Sonic collect the moral cob? I wasn't keeping on his stream.
I can't say I was watching too much either, but as a note there, kind of what Sonic was doing. So you saw Sonic taking a slightly different route from Chiefs in the earlier part of that game. That was kind of to gather some more collection points to get some more chances at Morocobs. So just another small difference in routing decision there. That can
Yeah.
help out a lot into Evelyn if you get a little bit lucky. Also, it looks like Chiefs met up with Set Set. Set Set is not going to be dealt with right away, just like the previous Pawn Specters that we've met so far, but we'll get to Set Set eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we've just entered Grandel, which is kind of the main city of Future Connected.
Yeah. Speaking of Future Connected lore, I guess we should explain that, because this whole
That's a bit important.
area has come into existence thanks to this area used to be part of the original Xenoblade 1 game, but unfortunately, I guess they cut it from the original game, and then they brought it back for Definitive Edition for specifically Future Connected. So it's very nice that we finally get to explore this area after, a decade of having that not accessible. And also, it's it's a very big area to put in the game. Like it's definitely huge when you think about the Wii version. All right, so he just talked to 1-1 there, mainly to like start his quest, but also later on it just like a flat 1 second time save. Later on, because you don't have to wait for him to turn.
Yeah, so 1-1 is a bit unique compared to the rest of the Pawn Specters. It actually requires you to get all the other Pawn Specters before you can actually do his quest. So
Yeah.
even though we can talk to him now, we can't actually do the quest yet. Oh, it does save some time to talk right away.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it looks like Sonic has made it to Sardi and also is getting a little bit of a rough Sardi pattern with only one Sardi getting aggroed right away.
Yeah, I think both of them got like a rough fight because Cheeks almost died.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is typical. Sardis extremely they are not cooperative at all. So.
Oh yeah, no surprise that Sardis are causing problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, this kind of just goes to show why we mentioned that Sardis are a run killer earlier.
Yeah. Anyway, so what Chiefs is doing is upgrading all the characters before. This is like the only menu we do in the game, by the way. But yeah, he's upgrading all the characters and make sure we're ready for Endgame. I'm not sure why he upgraded Berserker there though. That's a bit strange. I guess we'll
Yeah, I
find
don't think I've
out.
seen that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got
Like
field Pontios here now.
Yeah. You're able to upgrade Soul Drive to do like more damage.
That was an interesting deviation there. Field Pawnios are pretty they're pretty standard. You kind of just want to use your positionals as you've been for all the other fights with Shulk, and have Nene take aggro so you can freely use backslash and split edge and all the other positionals to do increased damage from the back or from the side.
Yep, this fight is pretty similar to how it's done in any percent as well.
Yeah.
But things are going to change up pretty drastically in the next fight.
Yeah, we've got
Not
we've
the
got
next fight. The next
the
fight
one
is pretty
after.
typical too.
Yeah,
The
we got
Armus.
Armus and then Gilgar.
I forgot
Yeah.
about Armus.
Yeah, but
The
it's fair to
fight's so
forget about
short.
them
Yeah.
because
It's so short.
quick.
You just get it done and dealt with.
Yeah. I'm ready to split for Galgar.
I got it. Don't worry, we're okay. We should be fine.
No,
now.
I want split.
Oh, you
Oh,
you will for Agnes, right? I've got Kevas.
All right, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said the
Um,
wait then.
Yeah, exactly. So Chiefs is going to be taking care of the armor here. It's important to have to have full gauge because we're going to be going for Gilgar here, and we really want to have full gauge right away because what happens is the Pawn Spectre Union Strike will just completely decimate him, and we want to make sure that he is right next to his little minions because if they move around too much, you're not going to get them in the AOE. Oh, there you go. I think the AOE will still potentially hit here. Hopefully.
Yeah. That's
should. It's close though.
Yeah.
We'll see. Because if you get them all together, ideally you can just wipe the whole fight right away.
Yeah, that was very close to a Galga kill as well, but yeah, unfortunately that did not happen. So
Gonna be losing a little bit of time. Oh, and they even healed Salt in the Wound. Should be. It's obviously not going to be much of a problem, but it definitely is a time loss there.
I don't think he healed actually. He definitely
Did
didn't
it?
heal.
I
No,
thought
he
it did
didn't.
briefly there. Well,
Nope.
good thing that it didn't.
Yeah, that was
yeah.
actually a pretty fast fight.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considering that they kind of moved around.
Yeah.
I believe we're gonna get a little bit of a. Oh, they already went back here earlier when I was gone, but they picked up a new weapon for Nene, I believe.
Oh, I think Sonic got spotted by the enemies here. That this can be
Oh.
potentially bad because if he gets like binded, he can't drop down. But
I think
fortunately,
he's-
he did not.
Yeah, we're good. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, we're good.
Ooh, so that's a little bit different. So Sonic's is actually taking. So
It's an older route.
Right. So earlier, Chiefs went on the right side and kind of pushed against the rock to be able to fall down in the correct direction, and Sonic kind of jumped down between a little bit of the left side there and used the old route for the skip.
Yeah, so as kind of a note for that skip has also changed. Even though it's like pretty simple in execution, it has changed significantly over the last couple of years. Initially involved you kind of running all the way down the wall when it was first found, to kind of cutting it out by including certain rocks, and now you can kind of just fall straight down that slope like Chiefs did there at the start. So there's plenty of different ways to do it, and it's constantly gotten optimized over time.
Yeah. Anyway, so Chiefs is saying 2-2-2, which is the right choice in any percent.
Thank you, Sonic, for that.
Yeah, Sonic discovered that, so that was like really cool.
It was a huge relief for us because getting rid of Sardi is just like, it just made everything about the run better.
Yeah, so we needed to get a yellow no pun for Union Strike. Evelyn's kind of a pain. We ended up finding out that to-do is far faster for any percent. Well, specifically Sonic did, which was incredibly nice at the time.
Yeah. The Sardis made for a really funny a community point though, and all the times we have our community runs where there'd be like 7 of us in a call, all racing together. We'd all be sharing our pain in fighting Sardis.
Yeah, and somehow making it into the eShop. That's always
Yeah, oh my
amazing.
God. So Tutu is our 5th Pawn Spectre. Sonic is making his way over to the quarry again. And yeah, Chiefs is gonna. There's a little bit of a deviation here. In the 90% route, you do things in a little bit of a different order, obviously for like the whole run. But for this in particular, and we usually fast travel over to a relative point to get to this NPC that Chiefs is gonna talk to. But he's just walking over the full stretch instead.
So kind of a fun note about this NPC as well is if you're playing the game casually, this NPC is telling you about some ether related stuff and you need to go talk to an NPC in Grandel to then find the position of this item that you're looking for. You don't need to talk to that NPC. So that's included in any percent as well. You can skip over the NPC and just go straight to the cave to get that item, but we're gonna first do some Pawn Spectre stuff before we actually continue on the story here, so.
Yeah, so this is the Phosphora quest, I believe.
Yep.
So you gotta take out these 3 chromas that are very mad. I don't believe Chisei's we call it his Monado gauge ready. Sorry, yeah, his Monado gauge ready to go. So it's gonna be a bit of a slow fight, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
You got the level up from killing the 1 Chromar there, which is nice.
yeah.
In this game, red bar enemies, obviously those enemies were not red bar, but red bar enemies have a significant boost in like evasion, and it's really hard to hit them at times. So level is kind of important. Well, that is especially an issue in any percent normal Fog King.
Yeah, so what he's doing here is he's trying to avoid the unique monster that's next to the objective, which is Fingermajacker.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he could just immediately backslash there, but yeah.
He's gonna Union Strike. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, Union Strike.
they route this to where you build up your meter throughout the fights that you just did with the Chromars there, and you save that meter, travel immediately to this location, because this enemy is so high level that you have to Union Strike it.
Yes. If
Yeah.
you don't Union Strike it, you'll just struggle.
You'll just
and also,
die. Yeah.
like, yeah, provoke a unique monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so depending on where you are in that room, it may be faster to quick travel or to actually just walk. Ideally, you actually want to walk. You save like 0.1 of a second. But yeah, it depends on your position in the room.
It's
So
hilarious.
he was like
how they
pretty
built
far
this.
away in from that spot. So yeah, it was ideal to quick travel there.
Yep. So we obviously visited this Napon earlier, and now we are back to them. And this time we actually recruit them to our team. I believe this is Nanona.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is supposed to be one of the Pawn Spectres that you're supposed to get very last. As you can tell,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
not really doing that here.
No, we break the rules a little bit.
Yeah. I do like that Pawn Spec. That's a god complex. So that's always really
It's
funny to
hilarious.
do.
Oh, it's great.
That's the halfway point too. That's our sixth Pawn Spectre.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
we're
so
going to
now
be talking
Chiefs
about
is just kind of cleaning up some of the Pawn Spectres here, because yeah, just continuing on with Phosphora before moving on to the next one here.
Yeah, so like as Vega just said, they're going to be cleaning up some quests, and then we're going to start part of a boss gauntlet in any percent. Actually, this gauntlet is 3 fights, but in this category, it's 2 fights. We go do a little more questing and stuff, and then
We're not doing that yet.
yeah, that'll be a bit later. Just to introduce, like a lot later, but it'll just be to introduce the fact that another use of the optimization for chain meter and union striking to build it up and come back and finish a boss off with a quick union strike.
Yeah,
It's one of the
pretty
coolest things
massive-
about this.
That pretty massive amount of the routing in this category in particular is about optimizing that Union Strike gauge as much as you can. You know,
Speaking
you
of optimizations, this is going to be something right after speaking to this Pawn Spectre right here. So going around here saves like 0.1 of a second, and this was like recently discovered by Alexis Go's move. But yeah, this is like, it's a very marginal time save. So
It
yeah.
goes to show how true, like how optimized this run is, especially because it's shorter. There's a lot less room for, of course, all the games have like less room for error, but when the run is shorter, the errors that you do make are much more pronounced.
Yeah.
That's something that you can notice across a lot of the future connected categories is they tend to be much shorter runs, so they tend to have a lot of optimization built into them at this point.
Mm-hmm. So right now, Sonic is just making his way over to Alchemoth. I believe, did Sonic end up getting a Sky Mole while I was,
I am not sure.
don't think so, right?
I don't think so either. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs got very, very
It's
lucky with that
crazy.
Sky Mole, by the way.
Yeah, it
We
was
can't really
absurd.
emphasize that enough.
Yeah, the Sky Mole was like incredibly lucky how he was able to get that early. It's gonna be a super like um affirming thing just to know that he doesn't have to deal with it later. So once again, Sonic is in Alchemath here. I don't know if we touched much on the story for Alchemath is obviously full of vegetation now. It's been a few years since the conclusion of Xenoblade DE, or the base game of Future Connected. And he's going to run through, collect the Hyantia feathers, drop them back off at Dry, and make their way to their first Fog Beast battle.
Also, Chiefs just grabbed Hakasa. Hakasa's quest is actually quite long compared to the other Pawn Specters, so we're going to be going back and forth between Hakasa and other quests quite a bit here throughout the run.
Oh, that's not a great drop from. Yeah, you want to prevent fall damage there, not. I think it was trying to not take fall damage, but yeah. So when you do take fall damage, you do slow down. You have to wait for that animation. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it also has a little bit to do with jumping. The reason why I believe Aeon did point this out earlier is jumping while getting attacked will prevent the animation of you getting hit from playing. So you'll still take damage, of course, but since you're in the jump animation, it's not going to slow you down to do the damage animation.
Oh, interesting. He's doing the Hakasa stuff earlier.
Yeah, there's going to be actually like definitely a few handful of differences between Chiefs and Sonics throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so normally, well, not normally, what many people will do is they will drop down and do FIFA before continuing Hakasa's storyline here. So that's a little bit of a difference that we might be seeing on Sonic stream.
Although I think that might be genuinely faster. Going there early and then doing FIFA, yeah. Although he's not going down at the moment, which is yeah.
Yeah, I believe they're making their way back over to
Hakasa, which is fine.
Yep.
Yeah, Hakasa's kind of disconnected from a lot of the other Pawn Specters, so doing it in this order in particular doesn't affect things too much, because we're going to need to teleport back to Cloud Top Lookout anyways here after Hakasa's down, so, or at least once we finish this part of the Hakasa quest, because there's still another one after this. It's not over yet.
Yeah, Hakasa, yeah, we don't even complete it here. Hakasa is one of the later ones.
Yeah, Hakasa's actually probably, at least in my opinion, probably the most hidden Pawn Specter. Playing casually, you kind of have to hunt down Hakasa a little bit.
I would agree, like for sure. Like there's so many, like it's just so out of the way. You can even tell as it takes a while to walk over. You got Tete here. This is the start of their quest. We'll be continuing on this path onwards to also unlock a fast travel point called Nerthus Necropolis. We'll be getting that, I believe.
Yes, this is another one of the Pawn Specters that you're kind of supposed to get earlier on, so this should be kind of a breeze to go get that item.
Yeah, and we even get some other items as well as we do this for other quests. Looks like Sonic is about to start. Oh, he just got the Tealins. Yeah, so you go to Tealins first to get there later. So he's gonna be making his way to Grandel. Yeah, so as Regu pointed out, this is kind of meant to be earlier. As you can see, all the enemies have blue health bars, which means, you know, we're kind of over leveled for them. So we just walk by, no problem.
Yeah, and it is really convenient to put off this specific Pawn Specter till you do Hakasa, because Hakasa has another objective pretty close by here.
Yep. So right now there's just some downtime between getting to Grandel and obviously getting this next fast travel point. So now Chiefs is gonna make his way over to an overhang, drop down, and complete two quests. Or, well, not complete them, but progress 2 quests for 2 different Pawn Specters.
Yeah, so what he's going to do is he's going to fall down and... Is he doing this the old way or the newer way? It's hard to tell because,
Yeah, I believe
I'm not too familiar with Chief's route.
Yeah, they definitely have the...
This is the old route, yeah.
Yeah, so he gets the the collection item there, and then makes his way over to kill Ramrod
Yeah.
Turkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ramrod Turkin, I believe, gives us the item for Tay potentially, or no? No.
Tay-Tay.
This is for
Yeah.
Hakas.
Or
Hakasa, yeah,
Or
he's- yeah.
Hakasa, yeah.
Yeah. And then right now, Sonic is making his way up to one of the earlier pawn inspectors that Chief's got set up. But we actually, this is one of the latest ones we come back to, funnily enough. Set
Yep.
is like the second to last not pawn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Chiefs is now going
yeah.
into the cave to grab the item
And
for
Sonic
Tay.
is doing an older drop here.
Oh,
from,
that's right. It's
oh,
different.
yeah.
Yeah.
They've got a
Yeah,
lot
so
of
once again, there's a lot
routing
of routing differences between these two runs right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as Ragu said earlier, the reason
Oh
why
no, Sonic got hit
you
by
got
the
it.
caterpillar, got
Oh,
blinded.
nice. The DI got perfect. Okay, that could have been like.
Oh,
it could have
got
been really
the aggro,
bad.
but I might get hit again.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
But
That's
as
So those
Ragu
are
said,
kind of
very
nasty to
unlucky.
get seen by because they'll apply bind to you and
Yeah. Same as the Chroma earlier. They can apply bind as well.
bind is one of the most annoying mechanics in the game for sure.
really
Yeah,
irritating
because
in
you
a
just
Yeah.
can't
speedrun.
move.
You can't move at all. But yeah, Ragu talked about the fact that we delayed that quest, and the reason we did that was because we wanted to progress another quest so we can get both, like all three of those items there at the same time, relatively speaking. Yeah, so that's why we delayed that. And once again, Chiefs is walking back to get the Napalm that is extremely out of the way. But I believe they will be recruiting them this time. So
Yep,
Yeah.
this should be
Well,
the
we
final
will
stop
not have to
for
walk
halving,
Hakasa.
yeah.
yeah,
I
we
have
will
a
have to walk that
feeling
again.
like he's doing it this way. I mean, we can just ask him later, just to get like more opportunities for sky moles, because you have like a lot of, like it's very likely that you get a sky mole on the way up to the Necropolis area. So yeah,
Yeah, and then they just happen to get it like extremely early.
yeah,
So this will be the 10th pawn inspector recruitment. Actually, they might have to. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Sonic is going to be grabbing the weapon for Nene here. Little shop menu, super quick, and then heading over to the story flag.
Otherwise, I believe Chiefs is probably going to drop down and grab FIFA now. And yep, I believe
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Yes.
he's doing.
Yep.
So that Sky Mole that we mentioned earlier, which has an extremely low chance of dropping from collectibles, is important for FIFA's quest here.
I don't think Sonic has had a chance to get one yet, so I'm sure he has that in the back of his mind. It's a huge relief to be able to get it that early.
Something you're always thinking about when running this category is, do I have a Sky Mole yet?
Yeah. It's like Morocov's, but it just remains with you for the entire for like most of the run.
yeah. So this one, yeah. So it's kind of RNG because this is actually determined by weather if you get to actually fight this enemy earlier. So Ferris early. There's one like at the back which is a lot safer to grab, but this one is like a lot closer, but a bit more dangerous to grab because there's enemies surrounding the Ferris, and it can get pretty hairy, especially if more enemies come in and join the fight, and it just it can get very ugly.
For sure. Sonic is
And-
cleaning up field ponios here as well, just on the side.
Yeah.
So that is the recruitment for FIFA, and then Sonic is working on armors here. Looks like he will very easily. He should be able to get the full gauge.
Yep.
To
I'll
decimate
keep an
the
eye
other,
on his thing so I can split for Galgar.
for sure. So
And I
now,
think
yeah,
Chief's going the gauntlet a lot later than what Sonic will go into. But yeah, it's
Yeah. we
so
got the
this
start
fight
button
should
on
go down very quickly. The biggest thing you need to get is you definitely need to get the full gauge for the spiders.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really important that
after
you do. And also, there's a point here. I believe he's going to try and use Monado Cyclone. This is really important because Mammut here can use a Stomping Tantrum, I believe, and that can like it basically sends your whole team into a topple, and it can really, really, really draw out this fight and potentially cause you to wipe. In casual, it's a bit less likely that you'll wipe, but it can still be quite annoying.
And it looks
Yeah,
like he
Sonic
got the
actually
gauge.
got good damage on Galgar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be a very good fight for Sonic as well.
So Chiefs is making his way over to Antall now. I didn't get a chance to see what his meter was. Oh, perfect. So he's gonna use it right away. The reason we want to use it right away here is because one, it's a guaranteed kill with how many Pawn Specters we have. But two, the AOE needs to kill all the spiders for the quickest fight possible.
Yeah.
Yep, this is done in casual or not in casual, in any percent as well.
Yeah.
Using gauge here to make the Antel fight go faster.
Yeah.
So
Is
as I
Chiefs
was,
gonna go into the final fight? Nope. Okay.
No, he's not.
No,
Yeah.
we're not. We go
Yep.
to we go
Exactly.
and take care of the Rogals before set because we need to take care of a bird problem for set.
Yeah. So as I was speaking about earlier, and in any percent, this is done in succession, the 3 fights. But in all Pawn Specters, you delay the 3rd one, and the reason for that is to one, you clean up the rest of your Pawn Specter quests, but also one of the Pawn Specter quests will make you fight some enemies, and in that fight, you will build up your gauge to full. So you build up your gauge to full, you fast travel back to the Dino, and you're able to Pawn Specter Union Strike right away.
Mm-hmm. He might have a really fast fight here though.
Yeah.
Because yeah, he'll have Buster and then yeah. Unfortunately, none of the Rogals got into range, so he only got one of them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the fight would be.
They kind of just stood there.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Chiefs. Yeah. So there's also a lot of like luck elements in these fights, which is why all Pawn Specters is like a very RNG heavy category.
For sure, especially like including sky moles as well, and like other collection points. It's important.
He also really needs that burst affinity because
Yeah, if he doesn't get it, there's actually going to be an issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's close. So the reason, even though it might seem like he's very close to his chain meter, and it's super close here, it could be okay. But the reason we want it right away is because this Dino also has a lot of bats next to them, and if you wait too long, the bats will kind of disperse, and you'll lose the chance to do an AOE kill on all of them.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how this works out for Chiefs here.
And also, if the fight goes on too long, the bats can topple you, or the Dino can do like an instant death attack, which you need Monada Shield 9 to protect you from, which you won't have.
Yeah, you will not have that. Perfect. Awesome.
Oh, very
that went
nice.
Very well.
Yeah.
So Chiefs is in the end game now. All they have to do is finish up. I believe it's 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, he needs to talk to Setset, and then he needs to finish 1-1's quest.
Yep.
And
And
then he'll
then
be
makes
fighting
it way
Foggy.
to the
Yeah, because the category is called All Pawn Specters, and you clarify this, we are not fighting the dragon.
yeah,
The
we
because,
dragon,
um,
even with all Pawn Specters, is an incredibly difficult fight,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which is why it was not included in this.
Well, it's not just that. It's just technically you already have all the Pawn Specters.
Yeah, that too.
So,
Yeah, so you can just run away and leave.
yeah.
The initial name of the category, when it was like first initially decided, was Pawn Spectre % before it was changed a week later to all Pawn Specters. And I think
just
honestly
the
that's
Grand
probably
was
a good,
like,
good
yeah,
name.
no.
Yeah, no.
It's also funny. We have we were joking about earlier in Torna, but we also have a kind of a
Oh, this looks really good for Sonic, by the way. This chroma fight.
yeah. They're
that is
super well
clean.
bunched up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Oh my goodness, and
Awesome.
you got Burst Affinity
And
too.
burst. Wow, look at that.
Excellent. Yeah.
That was excellent. That was really well executed.
That was a really, really clean fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's stuff like that that'll be able to tip the scales between which team's ahead, which ends up falling behind for sure. So right now, Sonic is going to be doing the same aggro trick the Chiefs did earlier. We want to avoid aggro from the UM in the back, and just aggro this thing.
Yeah.
Get as much
Basically
meter.
just bait it away,
exactly.
and then yeah, that's like the fastest way to beat it.
Yep.
To activate that. Oh,
Oh no,
I
this
think
is
Jason's
interesting.
I think he's gonna knock the chroma, the cut post ignore off. Because you can do that through Sword Drive or Spear Break.
This is interesting actually.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually seen Tutu used
I
here
have.
before. Huh.
I have. I've used Nene here for like practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can let gravity decide things. So you just get the cut first Igna like close to the edge, and then you let gravity decide things. I think Sonic's gonna do a
There you
similar
go.
strat. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, so the older strat for that is to actually kill the Igna. While actually
However,
fighting it. But
however,
that's faster.
you want to kill the Igna
Yeah.
properly and not like because what happens here is you have no gauge for Fog King, and that makes that
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes the Fog King fight slower, more likely. It's a very good knockoff. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like when I play all Pawn Spectres, like the things that you do, it is like it feels like a pendulum. Like if you think something's faster, something swings the opposite way and makes it slower.
Yeah. I do like how they have like all these like small minute route deviations. Obviously the beginning being the most prevalent where Sonic will control Shulk and then Chiefs will control Melia.
Yeah, that's
So
like
that's
the most
the
obvious one.
Yeah, so that's the final Pawn Spectre. It's all 12, and that means Chiefs is good to make his way to Fog King in Alchemoth.
Yes.
So we hate Fog King. No one likes Fog King.
We
He's really mean.
we all hate Fog King here.
Yep.
Yep. Uh, in this category, he's probably the safest out of like any other category other than probably Hundo. But it's still
Oh, I disagree, but
it's
yeah,
Hundo.
from my
Yeah,
experiences.
it's Hundo. It's definitely not not a
Hundo fucking
pushover.
is a joke.
Yeah,
Hundo
Like,
Fog King is a
it
joke,
goes down
especially
so
after
fast.
you fight the dragon.
yeah, it's hilarious. You fight,
Yeah.
you over him last. So yeah, this is the second easiest variation of Fog King, I would say. Um, obviously, the normal version of this route having some issues. And Fog King, don't get me wrong, Fog King could still absolutely
I
send
think
your
normal
run.
they have a really good setup though for it. It's actually like easy or normal.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. He didn't aggro the Lexos. I guess he's
Yeah.
just confident in Fog King 1. So
Yeah,
normally you get that aggro and you use the aggro to carry your chain meter as far as possible before de-aggroing and getting to the point of no return.
But yeah, there's no point to doing that, especially when you knock the Igna off the edge
Right.
and getting no fee in the first place anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we should kind of talk about Fog King a little bit. So Fog King has two phases, Fog King 1 and 2. 1 is significantly easier than 2. It's pretty much, it feels like a whole different fight.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. So, but it can still cause a little bit of issues in terms of losing time, but the risk of dying on this fight is very low. I think he doesn't even use Monado armor here. He'll be using that in Fog King 2 for sure though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Monado armor is
You can
incredibly
get away
helpful
without
in
using
second
Monado
phase.
armor. Yeah.
Yeah. Second phase, it's like imperative.
Yeah, you
You
will
guys
die
remember-
without it most likely.
Yeah. And ideally you want to hear Melia say, so this is why it's really important to play, like, I guess in a language that you prefer to listen to, because Melia will indicate to you when she will topple the Fog King. And it's actually really important because Melia's the only one that can topple the Fog King. Like, I'm serious. Like,
Yeah,
she's the only one that's capable of doing that.
and we really can't control. Oh, so Chief's got that was a good Monado armor. He got that right before Infernal Burst went off, but Melia's actually dead, which is
Not so great for his gauge.
No.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, it looks like he's building gauge for phase
Ooh.
2.
for
Yeah,
phase 2.
the thing is, he's not going to want to use up his Union Strike here because it would be a little bit overkill. He's going to try and keep it for phase 2 because phase 2 is far more dangerous.
Yeah, if you can start phase 2 with the Union Strike, it makes the phase much easier. So that's kind of what he's doing here.
So he'll lose a bit of time on this and then make a little bit of that time back in Fog King 2, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't go into detail why it was important with the way that we route things, like to get the Pawn Spectres in the order that we do. Is mainly because you get like damage increases depending on how many Pawn Spectres you have in the party.
It's for the different colors as well. With
Yeah.
and we obviously want to prioritize red because that is our main damage.
Yeah,
So-
well, not just that. I mean, like, how many you get. Oh, Sonic got the Sky Mold just in time.
Oh, thank
That
Oh
was
goodness.
like-
wow!
Yeah.
That
I'm
was
so glad
close.
that neither of them had to grind for Sky
Yeah,
Mold.
that
and
is
just-
very fortunate, yeah.
Yep.
So that was
But,
a
you
good.
know, I-
Oh no, she's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, so that also kills off all the knights that the Fog King spawns, which are kind of a menace. So
Mhm. Yeah, the deadliest move though is Mispress, which
Oh,
can top your
Mispress.
party for 17 seconds.
yep.
So yeah, that's always a lovely move to see.
Nice
You
top
can
opener,
mitigate
yeah.
it if you
Yeah.
position yourself correctly or position your party members correctly. Or they are
Yeah.
positioned.
The best way to mitigate it is in normal mode, actually, or in any percent normal, because you control melee on this fight and you're able to use a reflection.
Yeah.
Reflect, yeah.
Mhm.
This is pretty much a surefire completion for Chiefs in just a
Yep.
second here.
Yep.
I
And you'll
will-
note that Chiefs didn't use the gauge at the end. It's slightly faster to not use the Union Strike, but otherwise,
Yeah.
good game
Yep.
to Chiefs there.
GG's to Chiefs for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that is going to conclude my commentary for sure. So I hope
Yeah.
everybody enjoyed.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on Sonic.
For sure. And then I think that means me and Rag will be dropping out
Yep.
for our Xenoblade 2 commentators. But yeah, I've been MD. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the marathon. I'll be back at the end for our admin conclusion.
All right. Thank you so much for having me as well.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, time to